Hello everyone, I'm Marcin and I'm here today to tell you about Startup Platforms Acceleration Program, which I hope gonna change the way we support innovative business ideas, startup ideas in our country. But before that, I would like to introduce my colleagues from the Ministry of Development, Monika, Renata, Aneta, Tomek and I. We were responsible for preparing this program and negotiating it with the European Commission, because you have to know that large part of the budget of startup platforms comes from the EU funds. These negotiations took last year and led to the adoption of the startup platforms with the budget of 200 million euros. So we are about to launch this program soon. So for me, this is kind of culmination of our work so far. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. But let me start by telling you what was the reason for preparing this program and why we have done it. Of course, the simplest answer is why not? But if you look at the potential of Polish young engineers, IT specialists, technicians from various industries, financiers, designers, mathematicians, and marketers, for instance, we see the potential of these people in Poland. And as you know, startup companies are based on these competencies these days. And if you look across of Polish startup ideas, startup projects, which are often quite are results of students' projects at technical universities in Poland. There emerge gaming, mobile applications, 3D printing, graphic services, graphic design services, smart devices in robotics, automotive industry as well. Maybe you don't know, but part of these ideas, part of these projects comes from the Eastern Poland regions, from the technical universities. I wouldn't be myself if I didn't mention about drones, about unmanned aerial vehicles, about games, about smart devices, and of course Mars rovers, starting from technical universities, starting from Białystok through Kielce, Lublin, and Rzeszów. By the way, the team from the Technical University of Rzeszów won this year's the University Rover Challenge in the United States. So we believe that this kind of projects, this kind of big startup ideas, properly prepared in terms of market's needs, could be a starting point for scalable or maybe even profitable businesses. So that's why we prepared an acceleration program for those people. On the other hand, we experience so-called brain drain problem. This problem mostly concerns well-educated young people in Poland, and when we talk about Eastern Poland, this group of well-educated people at age 25, 34 is responsible for nearly half of negative migration balance. So to minimize somehow this problem and to facilitate exploitation of new business, new ideas, we want to launch this program as an acceleration program in order to increase the chances of market success of these kind of ideas, and maybe to stop these people whose problem of brain drain in Poland. Okay, let me tell you how does the startup platforms work. As you know, that startup companies, running of startup companies is much more riskier than standard business ventures, because this is due to the lack of certainty whether the product or service will be adopted by the market or customers. That's why within the startup platforms will be taken all necessary measures to prepare a minimum viable product and the appropriate business models. In practice, how does it look? All participants are provided with basic services, for example, free office space in technological parks and incubators in Eastern Poland. Tailor-made services such as technical and technological support, designing, engineering, marketing, in order to prepare a minimum viable product. An opportunity to prepare and test a business model using the most current business development methods and tools like customer development, lean startup, design thinking. Mentoring, individual mentoring provided by external business experts. As I didn't mention before that, I haven't mentioned before that Startup Platform is a comprehensive acceleration program. The key word is a complexity. That's why we want to engage for support this program, engage collaborative business ecosystem partners such as local governments, universities, business environment, institutions, large companies, which are expected to support additionally startup platforms and all ecosystems around the startup platforms, around the acceleration program. And last but not least, having a prepared minimum viable product and a tested and prepared business model, each startup will be able to apply for 8,100 zlotys. It's about 200,000 euros. What is important, this is a grant for initial operation of startup, this is grant for business model execution. My colleague Marysia from PARP will tell you about details how the startup platforms will be implemented next month. But in the end, I would like to refer to the words of this great entrepreneur, Sir Richard Branson, who has lately said that everyone has the potential to be an entrepreneur. They just need the opportunity. I strongly believe that startup platforms as an acceleration program gives a set of opportunities to make it possible to be entrepreneur. Marysia, the floor is yours. If you have any questions on startup platforms, please contact me. Okay, this is my email, and I will be here during this today event, so don't hesitate to ask any questions. Thank you very much. Marysia, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you, Martin. Where's my presentation? Okay, my name is Maria Tyka. I'm working in Polish Agency for Enterprise Development, where I'm responsible for implementing the program called Startup Platforms for New Ideas, which I will present to you right now in details. Let's start with the beginning. Startup Platforms is a new complex program which will contribute to building appropriate ecosystem for growing startups in Eastern Poland. This measure is divided into two sub-measures. The first one is called Startup Platforms for New Ideas, where the beneficiary are technological parks, technological incubators, and science parks, which will focus on helping startups to expand their ideas into business. The second sub-measure is startup development in Eastern Poland, where the beneficiary are startups which has already graduated from the acceleration program run by Startup Platform. As Martin said, Startup Platform is mostly the acceleration program, but I would like to start with explaining the structure of Startup Platform. The main role plays an animator who manages and is coordinating the whole project. This can be science and technological parks and technological incubators. These animators should establish a partnership with his partners, and they will provide their potential, their resources to run this acceleration program. These partners can be incubators, technology transfer centers, accelerators, and also research organizations. And last but not least, a very important player, it will be startup ecosystem actors. These players provide advantages, incentives that encourage young people to set up their own business in Eastern Poland and stay out there. These startup ecosystem actors are local government units, universities, VC funds, business angels, moreover large enterprises and even multinational companies, corporations. This structure will be assessed by our panel of experts in Polish Agency for Enterprise Development. This is very important, the incentives the partners and startup ecosystem actors provide to the platform, because of this, how appropriate they are depends the quality of acceleration program. Besides the structure, startup platform will be assessed according to few other criteria. The most important are startup, as I said, startup ecosystem involvement, promotional campaign which will help to attract young creative people to set up their business in Eastern Poland. The process of selection of startups is also very important. We will check what kind of assessment platform offers and what kind of criteria they will use. What else? It will be assessed also platform's potential, the infrastructure, the laboratories, human resources also, and of course the expenditures. We will check how much money platform wants to spend on management and how much on acceleration program. The whole activity of startup platform is we can divide it into few stages. First is call for ideas, where inventors can submit their ideas to the platform. The second one is selection, the best, the most creative and innovative ideas. And the last one is acceleration program, which I would like to present in details. How to start? At first, there must be a person or a team with innovative idea for his startup. The second prerequisite is that this person needs to be not more than 35 years old. If it's a team, then the leader should be younger than 35. When someone has this idea, he should submit his idea thanks to our website, which will be published in a few days. And then this application is sent to chosen by the startup platform, and then the startup platform chooses the one which are the best and pass them through the acceleration program. What is very important, this idea cannot be any subject of economic activity. Only when the startup platform decides to take care of this idea, then this team or a person set up a business in Eastern Poland. This acceleration program is divided into two kind of services. The first kind of services, these are basic services, as Marcin mentioned before. This is free office space. It can be also tax advisory, law advisory, mentoring, or accounting services. And the second type of services, they are specific tailor-made services which are matched with needs the startup has. the whole process of acceleration begins with an interview that is run by, let's say, a guardian of the startup. And he diagnoses the needs and any shortages the startup has. This process cannot last longer than 10 months, under a condition that the startup achieves goals that are set up at the beginning of a process. As an effect of this acceleration program, there is a business model and MVP. After this time spent on startup platform, our person or a team should know how to monetize his idea and how to launch the product on the market. After this acceleration program, Animator will issue a recommendation for Polish Agency for Enterprise Development, which will be used in the process of assessment of startups in our next submeasure, called Startup Development in Eastern Poland. In this submeasure, startups can get funding for market entry, initial operation, for realizing this business model that was worked in startup platform. The catalog of eligible expenses is very broad. The startup can have funding for tangible and intangible assets, salaries, services, advisory, goods that will be needed for production, and, for example, for renting an office. The assessment of the startups is designed to be as simple as possible. Apart from formal criteria, there are only 9 criteria that concern merits of the project, and I will mention only 3 most important of them. Polish Agency for Enterprise Development will assess, of course, the innovation. We will check if the idea is innovative nationally or in Europe. The second thing is business model. The result of the whole process on the startup platform will be assessed also by us. And the third very important thing is a team. That's why I mentioned the recommendation from startup platform, because the guardian and everyone who will work with the startup in the startup platform will know better these people, will know if they are hardworking, will know their skills, and special characteristics that help or don't help run the business. Now, going to the money. Startup can receive a grant up to 500,000 złotych. Minimum grant is 50,000 złotych. The intensity of funding is 55% of the value applied by the startup, but there's one condition. The startup has his own financial resources for this project. And there is also one condition, that this project cannot last longer than 24 months. The whole budget of the startup platforms is huge. It's almost 200 million euros. We divided this money like this. It's 60 million euros for startup platforms and 140 euros for funding for startups. But at first, European Commission decided to check if the assumptions are good, and we can use only 10% of this amount of money. What's next? Right now we have just closed the call for offers from startup platforms. We are going to assess them during next month, probably. No later than in March, first startup platforms will start to work. A few months later, Polish Agency for Enterprise Development will open call for applications from startups which will graduate from this acceleration program. Because it's a pilot program, we need to evaluate how the platform works during during the project. That's why we are planning to perform 2 evaluations. First will be ongoing evaluation. It will start in July till September 2016, and the second one as exposed. After these evaluations and the results of it, European Commission will decide whether to continue the program, and if it will decide that we should continue it, then in 2018 the regular program will start again. That's everything from me. If you do have any questions or issues that need to be explained in details, please contact me. We will try to answer as soon as possible. Thank you.